Well, there is a woman over the weekend who took it upon herself to research my family history in hopes of digging up some kind of a gotcha moment, a gotcha angle to validate illegal immigration and open borders. And what she found was really shocking, guys. She found that my family who came here in the 1800s from Norway and Germany, that they spoke Norwegian and German.
And here's the kicker. When one side hurls family roots like grenades and the other responds with a TED Talk on merit-based immigration, we don't get insight, we get chaos dressed up as commentary. A mashup of trauma bait meets fiscal lecture. Everyone's talking. Nobody's listening. And the internet? It's eating it up like it's opening night at the popcorn stand. Sunny showed up with the feelings. Tomi brought the facts, or at least the bullet points. Both walked away thinking they landed the final blow. Meanwhile, the actual question, how do we fix America's immigration system, got buried under a mountain of spicy tweets and boomerang rants on Instagram stories. Let's be honest, this wasn't a real exchange. It was political theater wearing a daytime talk show mask. A made-for-viral showdown, complete with strategically placed applause and coffee breaks. People aren't tuning in for solutions, they're tuning in for the mess. Who gets roasted? Who loses their cool? Who becomes a meme by lunchtime? This isn't about progress. It's about views. And the view? Oh, they've mastered the formula. Book the hot button guest. Toss out a baited question. Sit back and let the drama cook. By the time Twitter's melting down, they're already in commercial break. Same play. Different players. You could set your smartwatch to it. Sunny makes it personal. Tomi plays the policy queen. And all we're really reminded of is that those talk show couches must be flame retardant by now. So no, nobody won this round. Not if we're measuring by depth or dialogue. What we witnessed wasn't a clash of ideas, it was content warfare. Two realities walked in. Two trending clips walked out. And these days? The mic drop doesn't have to be smart. It just has to go viral.
The idea that immigrants come over here and they don't know anything and they're dragging us down, because we all come from immigrants, including you, Tomi Lahren. She talks about low skills. What exactly are her skills?
Her second great-grandmother had been here for 10 years, yet spoke no English. Oh my gosh. 1930 census says Tomi's 3 times great-grandmother had been here for 41 years and still spoke German. She didn't speak English either.
Because really, what else can you do when political debate starts to feel like a round of guess that ancestor? The plot's not just lost, it's vanished. This was never really about Tomi. And honestly, not even about Sunny. It was about what happens when ideology collides with insecurity, when real arguments get buried under cheap shots, and when, somehow, Greg Gutfeld ends up sounding like the sane one. Let that marinate. Beneath the dramatic eye rolls and table-slapping chaos, something deeper cracked open. This spectacle revealed just how far the immigration conversation has drifted from actual policy. It wasn't about border control. It wasn't about reform. It was a full-blown culture clash, dressed up as a serious discussion, complete with costume makeup. Immigration today has shifted from process to performance. It's not about visas, statutes, or legislation anymore. It's about who gets to define American, and who gets shouted down for trying. TheView has morphed into the weekly battleground for this identity circus. Less policy forum, more viral coliseum. Who can land the sickest burn before the commercial break? Bonus points if it hits TikTok by noon. You could almost hear the interns backstage queuing hashtags mid-sentence. This wasn't commentary. This was Real Housewives, Policy Edition, starring Sunny with her ancestry scrolls and Tomi, locked and loaded with an ice-cold rebuttal.
Did you provide them with DNA, 23andMe? Because I cannot believe the detail on your background that they were able to get.
Well, I don't have to. She did all the research for me, so I'm sure my family is very appreciative.
What about Joy saying that, what are your skills? It's beyond research. It is personal. It is mean.
Well, of course, this is classical Joy Behar, but I would like to ask Joy Behar what her skills are, because perhaps we could swap stories. I know I watched Joy, and she seems like a highly skilled lady, but for her to attack me, that's really interesting. Those in glass houses should not throw stones.
Had the roles been reversed, the outrage would have been nuclear, headlines screaming racism, think pieces flooding in like a monsoon, cancel hashtags trending before lunch, protesters in Times Square, and NPR already greenlighting a 12-part podcast titled The Roots of Hate. But when Sunny does it, suddenly it's called context. Spare us. This is where we are now. Performance devours the message. The louder the delivery, the less anyone actually hears. And Tomi, whether you like her or not, walked into TheView's Lion's Den, had her ancestry blasted on national TV, and somehow walked out with more supporters than she came in with. Sunny? She got polite applause from her usual crowd, but everywhere else? Shrugs. Winces. Second-hand embarrassment. Not because her point didn't matter, but because she buried it in pettiness. What could have landed like truth came off like a tantrum. The message got lost in the spectacle. So congrats, TheView, you took a serious national issue and turned it into political TMZ. Immigration deserves better. The audience deserves better. Honestly, even daytime TV deserves better. But until someone raises the bar, we'll be here, watching the wreckage, popcorn in hand, laughing through the chaos.
What is it about you that bothers him so much?
Well, it's not just me, it's anybody who advocates for merit-based immigration or has an issue with open borders. And again, just like you said, they don't seem to understand that we, on the right, believe in immigration. We understand that we are a nation of immigrants, and I am proud of my heritage. However, I do believe that the immigration crisis of today is apples to oranges from what it was in the 1800s when immigrants came to this country legally, were documented, worked for themselves, asked for nothing, and built a life and a family.
Gutfeld didn't hold back. He quipped that Sunny's logic was like throwing a rock inside a glass house while blindfolded. And if we're going to start digging through family trees for political ammo? He smirked, might want to check your own branches for snakes first. Then came the knockout punch, the irony of Sunny, a self-declared champion of compassion and inclusivity, suddenly moonlighting as an immigration gatekeeper over someone's great-great-grandparents. The flip was deafening. And the internet? It went up like a match in a can of hairspray. Gutfeld's clip caught fire, becoming a meme-fueled roast fest with a political twist. He closed it out with a mic drop. TheView isn't about policy anymore, it's ancestral cosplay with a laugh track. Brutal. And with that line, Sunny didn't just lose the debate, she became the punchline she was trying to deliver. Meanwhile, viewers at home were left scratching their heads like, wait, how did we go from border policy to someone's German-speaking great-uncle from 1873? Welcome to the new normal of TV politics, facts optional, drama mandatory. Using ancestry in a policy debate is a risky move, especially when your target thrives on turning backlash into brand power. Sunny reached into history hoping to land a blow, but all she did was hand Tomi the perfect spotlight to own the moment. And let's not ignore the cherry on top of this hypocrisy Sunday. Just imagine the headlines, outrage, and think pieces if Tomi had flipped the script and gone digging through Sunny's roots instead.
Folks, I have heard a lot of dumb crap come out of blue states, but this one is a real doozy. Get this. As of January 1st, New Jersey teachers will no longer be required to pass a basic literacy test. I kid you not.
And just when you thought the circus had packed up and left town, the fallout hit like a confetti cannon. Think pieces rained down like TikToks on repeat. Suddenly, everyone with a keyboard was a cultural analyst. Some hailed Sunny as a truth-slinging hero. Others said she crossed a line sharper than Meghan McCain's eyeliner on a Monday morning. Tomi, meanwhile, played the long game. She hit the interview circuit, posted Lady Liberty memes, and turned Sunny's ancestry dig into what looked suspiciously like a soft launch for a campaign trailer. Free media, free momentum, not a bead of sweat in sight. And then there was Gutfeld. Oh, he feasted. He didn't just dissect Sunny's logic, he flambéed it. Peak Gutfeld roast mode, activated. With surgical sarcasm and that trademark grin, he delivered the ancestry ambush segment like it was his own roast battle debut. He flamed Sunny for weaponizing Tomi's family tree while neatly sidestepping her own. According to Gutfeld, turning someone's lineage into a political punchline is a bold move, especially when your own ancestral history might not be wrapped in a tidy little bow of perfect assimilation either.
I started out at One America News with an 80-something-year-old male boss who called me a bimbo pretty freely. That was a different experience. I went to the Blaze and I worked for Glenn Beck, who I had to end up getting in a lawsuit with because he tried to fire me for saying I was pro-choice when I went on TheView. So it's been a different experience at those other networks.
And the wildest part? Tomi didn't even need to go full savage. She just sat there, calm, poised, letting Sunny unravel herself. No yelling, no dramatic clapback. Just steady eyes and a smooth pivot into her go-to monologue, the American dream, legal immigration, and why merit still matters. It was like watching someone elegantly step over a puddle while the other person swan-dived into it face first. By the time they cut to commercial, you could practically feel the regret hanging in the studio air, liberal panic echoing backstage like a fire alarm. Even Joy Behar looked like she wanted to shrink behind her oversized glasses and disappear through the floor. Because when your big attack ends up giving your opponent a hero edit? That's not just a fumble, you torched the entire playbook. But let's not kid ourselves, this wasn't just daytime drama. This was a full-on reminder that modern political debates now have all the nuance of a cafeteria food fight. You don't win arguments by pulling out someone's ancestry like it's a hidden trap card. You win by making a solid point, without the side of genealogy jabs. Because immigration? It's messy. It's human. It's wrapped in fear, hope, roots, and dreams. And the second you start flinging great-great-grandparents into the conversation for a mic drop moment, you're not elevating the discourse, you're lighting it on fire and breakdancing in the embers.
People have to wonder, where does Sunny Hostin get her opinions?
Yeah.
Like you said, it's obviously from her husband. She has to tell her what to say in TheView, because without it, she's got nothing up there. She's not very bright. But the problem with her is that she went full racist.
Every time TheView tackles a real issue, it somehow collapses into an emotional mud fight. Immigration, one of the most layered, nuanced topics on the planet, got boiled down to a shallow clash of egos. And for what? Because Sunny thought name-dropping Tommy's ancestors would score her a viral mic drop. It did blow up, just not the way she imagined. Here's the truth: Sunny had a chance to say something meaningful. She could have dug into how assimilation isn't linear, how immigrant experiences vary wildly, how speaking English doesn't measure a person's value, that would have hit, that would have mattered. But no, she reached for the viral moment. She chased clout and caught it all right, just not the type you brag about, the kind that leaves you getting ratioed into oblivion by Twitter avatars of Eagles founding fathers and barking cartoon dogs.
Hostin's obsession with race gets thrown back in her face. Today's video comes to us from Sunny Hostin. Sounds like a town. We're in Sunny Hostin. She was on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a show dedicated to researching celebrity ancestry. For context, Sunny is a staunch supporter of reparations and has made a fortune spewing nonsense about white privilege and racial justice. Well, turns out she's not as oppressed as she claims she is. She's actually the descendant of slave owners from Europe.
Back at TheView, things were unraveling at warp speed. You could practically hear the producers backstage slamming buttons in panic mode, silently praying for a commercial break to swoop in like a rescue chopper. Meanwhile, viewers at home were left blinking, wondering, wait, are we watching a political segment or Real Housewives, Capitol Hill? The whole thing had the vibe of a family reunion that took a hard left into televised chaos. Sunny tried to make it personal, but ended up making herself the headline again. Tommy? She didn't flinch. If anything, she doubled down, clinging to her talking points like they were tattooed on her bathroom mirror. Legal equals good, emotional blackmail equals bad. Love or hate her politics, credit where it's due, Tommy stayed locked in. No shouting, no interruptions, just that silent steel composure like she was carved from granite at the Heritage Foundation. Laser focused. Debate simulator mode, activated. Meanwhile, Sunny's argument started to buckle under the weight of its own performative passion. And then, boom, the internet storm hit. The split-screen showdown exploded online. Fans picked sides with all the chill of a battle royale. Team Tommy crowned her the comeback queen with ice in her veins. Team Sunny praised her courage for dragging ancestry into the hot seat. Some said it was a real immigration debate. Others swore it was a soul-bearing cultural reckoning. And the rest of us? Just out here praying someone could define merit-based immigration without spiraling into a lecture on colonialism, vibes, or great-grandparent grammar. Honestly, it was chaotic poetry.
Wow. I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
Yeah.
And just when the circus seemed to hit full volume, in strolls Greg Gutfeld, Fox News answer to a stand-up comic trapped in a civics class. Greg didn't waste a second. He grabbed Sunny's ancestry theatrics and spun them into a roast tailor-made for prime time. With that signature smirk, he tossed out a line dripping with sarcasm. Girl, how you gonna play family CSI when you probably haven't even mapped your own family tree? Then came the real zinger. He quipped that Sunny's ancestors likely didn't stroll into America waving a constitution wrapped in an English dictionary either. And if we're turning this into a game of DNA dodgeball, maybe check your own roots before lobbing acorns at someone else's branches. Greg's punchlines landed loud. It was a not-so-subtle reminder. The second you drag family trees into a policy debate, you better hope your own doesn't come with rattling skeletons. Because let's face it, audiences aren't blind. They see the performance. And no one tuned in for a rerun of Who Spoke English Best, 1800s edition. That's not immigration reform. That's theatrical dodgeball in business casual.
I
I have a question of my own. Do you lock your doors at home? In your residence, you have a lock on your door. Do you use that lock?
I do. Yeah, I do.
You have an alarm?
And why is that? I mean, you lock your door. You lock your door because you want to know who's coming into your home. It's not because you hate the people outside. It's because you love the people inside. Well, that's what needs to be done with the United States of America. That's why we have a border.
So here's the real question. Who actually got exposed? You've got to see it to believe it. It all started off tame enough. Your typical back and forth on immigration, borders, the usual legal lingo. Civilized, even. But then, bam, Sunny swung open the ancestry vault and dropped what she thought was a heritage bomb on Tomi. Picture this, yelling, "Your great-great-grandma didn't speak English," on national TV. That's not a debate, that's reality TV in a blazer. Sunny came in glowing, head held high, like she'd just unearthed the political Da Vinci Code. Her golden ticket? Tomi's distant Norwegian relatives didn't speak English. Seriously, that was her mic drop moment. But here's the twist, the mic bounced off Tomi's perfect ponytail and boomeranged right back at Sunny. Karma had a direct hit. And then came the line that silenced the room.
Why do you think you resonated with so many people?
I think, in large part, I represent Middle America. So you've got the two coasts, and those individuals seem to kind of just talk to each other. And then you've got all of Middle America right there that's dying to have a voice. They don't really feel like they have one. They're not represented, beyond their communities. So I think they watch me and they say, well, she speaks like I do, she thinks like I do, she seems to maybe get it like I do. And I think that's why it's resonated.
What is it about you that bothers them so much? Sunny tossed the question like it was some soul-searching curveball. But Tomi? Not a blink. Not a twitch. Botox or not, that woman stood like a statue carved from calm. She took Sunny's big gotcha and turned it into a slow-burn masterclass on immigration. Yeah, her ancestors didn't speak English, because hello, they were European immigrants, in the 1800s. But they came legally, followed the rules, worked hard, and didn't need hashtags or handouts to make it in America. The result? Tomi spun a cheap shot into a polished policy sermon, heels on, smirk steady, like someone who wouldn't show up to a street fight in anything less than stilettos. Meanwhile, Sunny looked like she'd been outplayed at her own game. The second she dragged in family history, she accidentally handed Tomi the ultimate setup: legal immigration, meritocracy, bootstrap glory. Sunny came armed with ancestry records and left buried beneath a red, white, and blue avalanche of conservative talking points. And no, it didn't stop there, because what's a political clash without Twitter detonating like a 3 a.m. microwave burrito? The timeline exploded. Flag emojis flew. Suddenly, every keyboard warrior became an Ellis Island expert, memeing like maniacs, typing in all caps, quoting immigration laws they probably skimmed during a bathroom break.
If Democrats really want to die on the hill of bringing back planeloads of criminal, illegal alien
Well,
gang
you haven't
members,
proven that they're criminals.
please,
That's the problem.
be my guest.
Honestly, look, I will be the first one to say if there's a criminal.
What if I told you The View just turned into a full-blown ancestry showdown with a political twist worthy of a primetime drama? Sunny Hostin came at Tomi Lahren like she was holding a secret weapon, dropping her great-great-grandparents' immigration story like it was the knockout punch. Bold move, Sunny. Seriously bold. But instead of crumbling, Tomi stayed cool, calm, and unshaken. She flipped the moment on its head like a pro, turning what was meant to expose her into a live TV plot twist no one saw coming.